University, Manny Diaz. Manny, appreciate you taking the time this morning to visit with us. You've been able to spend a few days around this complex. What's impressed you thus far about Penn State football?
The people. You always have an idea looking from outside in. Then you get inside of it, and it jumps out first 48 hours. Watching the team work on a Saturday practice, getting to know this staff, and really what you're seeing today on signing day, that just makes sense because like-minded people want to be around like-minded people. And so, all these great players, they want to come play with the players currently in the locker room, and they want to come play for the staff because they see what Coach Franklin's built here, the quality of the individual and the coaching staff. It's a sight to see in person.
You talk about the relationship between the coaching staff and the players, and obviously there's a relationship between you and Coach Franklin. When did he initially reach out and what was that conversation like as it related to becoming the defensive coordinator of Penn State?
Yeah, it was, last week was a whirlwind. The days, they all seem to run together, but it was sometime middle of last week. And, it was hard for me to even wrap my brain around, hey, listen, at what point are you going to jump back into this thing? But to coach defense at Penn State, to coach linebackers at Penn State, that's uncommon. People work in this profession their entire lives and wish they had the chance to coach here and especially to coach defense and linebackers. And the more we spoke and what his vision was and how he operated and the values that he was about, I think we found that we were aligned. There was already an alignment defensively, and it ticked all the boxes.
For those that don't know, you were obviously becoming the defensive coordinator and the linebackers coach here at Penn State University. What type of coaching style will you bring to this defense?
To me, the coaching style, it's like, it's what would you want as a player? You want a coach that has your back. You want a coach that's completely dedicated to maximizing your potential on and off the field. And then I like the defense to play the way I would like to watch a defense play. We want to be fast. We want to be aggressive. It doesn't make any sense to get all of these great recruits you're seeing here and watching all the great highlight videos and slow them down with a bunch of stuff that they've got to think about. So we want them to have, our job as coaches is to, when they're out there, they can really let their athletic ability shine. And that to me is that comes from having great relationships with your players. And I think that always happens when they know that you're in it for them. I know we like to talk about coaches, but the players play, and our job is to serve them and to see them succeed.
You mentioned the last few days have been a whirlwind, as I can imagine, but as it relates to that, what's the biggest thing that stuck out about those few days?
I think kind of like I mentioned, I think the people, and I think that even pushes out beyond this building, people in the Penn State community. You can tell, like I was telling some recruits this a little while ago. I mean, it just in 48 hours, you can see why this place is special, and it's a little bit unique. It's different. And I think it's cool. You want to be somewhere that's special. And I think that's my guess. The first question I asked all the recruits, all the guys signing today is why Penn State? Because I knew why I picked Penn State. I wanted to hear why they picked Penn State. In a way, we had both gone through a recruiting process. And the people in the community that was the answer that kept coming back at me over and over again. And I see why.
So you asked the question, why Penn State? Why did you ultimately pick Penn State?
For the exact same reason, the people. You want to be around great people. You want to be around like-minded people, and you want to have a chance to win and compete for championships. And as I've seen it with the staff here and the players that we have, the players we're going to continue to add here, not just in this class. We're already working on the next class and the class after that. You want to have a chance to win, and we've got a chance to win here at Penn State.
When it comes to the 2022 class, that will obviously continue to develop, but you personally as a recruiter, what is your message that you will now tell recruits in future recruiting classes on why to come to a place like LBU and the rich tradition that Penn State serves?
Well, you want to be held to a high standard, right? I mean, all great people, all champions want to be held to a really high standard. And you mentioned like to play linebacker. You saw some of the great ones that signed with us this morning. That's a heavy shirt to put on, right? I mean, there's a lot of expectation to coach linebackers, a lot of expectation to play linebacker, and you want young men that strive to that say, I want that. I want to be held to a very high standard every day. Where just heard Abdul, I think mentioned no plays off, no days off. to hear a young man with that type of mentality, that's probably what attracted him to Penn State, and vice versa. So I think that would be the message continuing going forward.
Coach, you talk about the message, you talk about the last couple of days being a whirlwind, so on and so forth. Let's end with this. What do you think is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself over the course of the past week?
That's a great question. Probably having a lot of time to sit around and self-reflect like that. But I do think this. I think anytime you have a transition and you get a chance to meet new people, you think about all the relationships that you have in this profession with players. Those relationships do not end. And I know people like to be cynical at times about college football. And then you come here and you see Coach Franklin, you see the staff, you see the relationships that they have with their team, with their former players. That's really the bond that ties the whole thing together. It's about the relationships. And I think you always get a chance to reflect on that when you're in a moment of transition.